Hello everybody, welcome back really quick after what was probably one of the longest series we are ever going to have at this event. It was absolutely madness, and you were there.
I was there. It was a long slugfest there, but really entertaining to watch there. 2-1 victory for the side of Snoggers.
Absolutely.
After all, and it was really good to see there. They progress further into the lower bracket here, but we shift our sights over towards our upper bracket final.
Already, like, so quickly jumping over to one of the really high-profile games here of this tournament. This is the big decider of whether or not you make it into the grand finals, and that's a big deal. With both of these teams coming in, it's TSE, Twisted Saints Esports, up against REY, who are definitely an underdog team coming into this, granted with very strong players, notably Winch and Zowie, who are really, really strong going into this tournament. They've shown some obscene dominance so far individually alongside the rest of their team. You were surprised. We would be quite surprised to have seen them come this far into this tournament. Definitely the underdog of the story.
Yeah, 100% here. Like, REY being able to win out against Lost Puppies in 2-0 fashion here. Lost Puppies being another team that we've all spoken about over the play days in green rooms and off camera. Just being one of the sort of highlight teams of one of the ones in contention here, along with another team of Control Esports as well, who seem to have kind of fallen out by the wayside there. These two favourites kind of falling short here, but Twisted Saints Esports, as always, keeping themselves above water, sticking into this upper bracket. Winners of the last Epic Val tournament as well from EPIC47.
Yep.
Looking to make a back-to-back winning appearance here. It's who I probably favoured. I don't know. I think you had some slight changes as to who you think could take the whole bag, as it were. It's
give or take. I think TSE are one of those teams that are 100% projected to be in the grand finals. When you look at a lot of teams on paper, there are a lot of variations. This is one of the most stacked Epic lands for Valorant we have ever had. And although we might not have as many teams as we had maybe last Epic, this Epic really has a strong concentration of insanely good talent. So many amazing teams. And it's so funny that in the most stacked event we've had in a long time, it's a team that we definitely wouldn't have expected to make it into this winner bracket final, to have a chance at the grand finals. It's a really, really interesting outcome throughout this tournament, right? And with both of these teams, they want to duke it out. It's an underdog with a little bit of experience on that as individuals against the most tenured group and clique at Epic LAN. And as our veto comes in, some bans that were sad to see: no Abyss, no Corrode, no Breeze coming in, which is sad here. Bind, Haven, and Split, the classic Three Musketeers of the old Valorant maps, coming in as our picks.
I think I'm happy to see this, but that's because I'm an old timer and I like to see. I think this is now going to be the quality that we're going to have to see demonstrated for both these rosters here. You're playing these kind of defaulty maps. There's not as many tricky plays that you can bring out here. It's all going to come down to their cohesion as a squad when it comes to their agent composition and how they play around each other. And again, that teamwork that's going to have to shine through and make sure that you're not overly reliant on one player to do the work. Because we saw that in the last series. We saw that with Kev's Hot Dogs. That they had a lot of superstars. They had a lot of players that stepped up into the fray and were making these big multi-kills and these big sort of montage highlight clips. But that's not always enough to kind of win an entire series out. It could win you maps, certainly, in a best-of-1 scenario especially. But when it comes to the long haul, it's not going to win you these tournaments here. What wins you tournaments is consistency and good understanding of teamwork and fundamentals here. And I think this is what one of TSE's strengths are going to be here. Like you've mentioned, they've been around for a long while now. They've won the previous Epic LAN as well. They've had showings in other tournaments. This is arguably their series to lose. Yeah, no, I actually agree with that statement when it comes to TSE being more prevalent on this veto. I think TSE, they're very well prepared through and through. They've played in a lot of strong tournaments, and when it comes to maps that are adaptable for a lot of teams, it adds a little bit of a worrisome factor for REY in the way that TSE are prepared in a different way. A lot of teams that aren't as familiar on these maps, that don't have a chance to practice together, will be running a lot more predictable compositions, will be running a lot more simple protocols. They're not going to be as deep into that preparation. They're just going to be going with what they know they are comfortable playing with, and so that leads to a lot of simple strategy making, going for regular defaults, going for really simple attack rounds, and most of the time not doing anything that's too out of the ordinary
necessary here. For TSE, they are extra prepared, and they've done those prep works to make those advanced protocols, even if their comps aren't necessarily as advanced. It's normal for us to see the double controller straight away coming out from TSE. They love running the double controller almost all the time, and having these fundamental maps be there in their pocket, ready to dominate on, is a little worrying for REY. But for Bind to see open as REY's pick is a promising idea. This was the map that they used to completely dismantle previous rosters, and with, like POX for example, this is a big bound for Chamber. And I think for REY, Winch has been that superstar that really has stood out here. Pants as well, being a really good Mosquito. A common strategy that REY have been running on this bind with the Waylay on Pants is going in quick, trusting Pants on going for that one-on-one with the Judge or the Shorty or whatever close range weapon it would be, get that one and then go back into a default. So despite REY maybe not having as much time to adapt, they've really already made an identity on this bind map, and that's something that TSE, I'm sure, are familiar with and are going to try and work on to adapt.
Yeah, they've got to make sure that they punish any of that sort of early aggression here. And there's going to be a lot of emphasis, I think, on Winch's Chamber to make sure that this isn't a wasted agent pick here, because that's always a question mark, isn't it? Of you're picking that Sentinel, and there's always that debate of, is Chamber really a Sentinel? How, you know, Sentinels kind of lock down those sites. They're meant to kind of keep the spike sites safe and act as the backbone of the team. But with the Chamber, because of their kit, they're often the one that has to go for those really aggressive quite plays here. So it's going to be down to them and the Waylay to make sure that they're working in tandem here and not just letting one fall without support here. That's what I'm going to be keeping my eye on for REY, is that they're making sure they stick to this game plan that you've just highlighted, that they are working together and making sure that they can actually take this fight to TSE, because otherwise I'm sure TSE will punish them. Yeah,
I think with TSE, they're going to be the most synergized team in this tournament, alongside teams like POX, who tragically couldn't make it into the bracket. POX, I have to add a little bit of extra glaze just because I love this team so much. Unfortunately, they tragically couldn't make it, but they are a team that relies so much on their crazy backy comps and their synergy to work through that. TSE are a similar boat, except they like to run a bit more traditional means, a lot more regular compositions, and granted, they may run a bit more aggressive duelist-heavy compositions because they want to enable those individual players. It doesn't... Have we missed the pistol round? Okay, we've missed the pistol round. That's...
You want revenge, Viper? Now's your chance. Need equipment. Thanks.
Enemy remaining.
Gun. Portal closed. I'll return. Here. Portal closed.
Stim beacon down. Smoke's down.
Out of charges.
30 seconds left. Last player standing. Spike planted.
Cutting through.
Far in this event when a lot of people really didn't expect them to make it so far. I mean, you've got some former members from different teams. For example, Zowie being a former member of Delta X, I believe, if not Baltic Brits, one of those teams, alongside a second player on the similar lineup. And it's been a really interesting journey to see this team kind of adapt and make things change the fates of what we would expect. Unfortunately for either side, though, I mean, Panzer's gone with his usual aggression on the Judge to take down Deck, and TSE on the opposite side at the very beginning of the round will get one with their Operator. But I think this trade does go pretty big in favor of REY here. You've lost that aggressive control of the utility with Viper's Wall, and with that, now you can go all guns blazing onto the site, but that is if you're ready for Waddles on this Operator, and they're simply not, and neither are they for Bully, who will get a quick transfer to close it out for TSE.
I do wonder if maybe REY aren't committing all the utility they need to in the right places, especially if they're going for these big sites here, because it feels they use some of their utility in the early rounds to try and get these initial engagements, and then they obviously go to commit towards their site plant, and it just falls apart at the seams. You've got Waddles picking up these kills, you have someone like Bully as well going forward and getting those kills, Luca as well, more than capable of doing it. Where is the sort of coverage here?
I think it was partly due to a good read from TSE. They almost expected of the Waddles to essentially go back towards A and use that angle instead, and that was a risk that REY had to take with that gamble. And unfortunately, it didn't pay off, and it was well done from TSE. They told Waddles to stay stationed on B, don't move, don't leave the site, and once they used that insert utility that was deep into the site, not close quarters, Waddles had plenty of space to use that Operator to still abuse. And look at this, it's still that threat from Waddles. Look how much space he's claimed up now. Tour de Force forced out from Winch, and he spotted Deck from the back of Truck, but he's not able to grab his one, and now the presence of the biggest threat in this map so far is revealed. Now TSE can massively play around this and abuse the space they're already able to abuse here. Pants, again, unstoppable in this technique when he's just going in with a shorty. It feels all too simple when someone does it so well, but it doesn't seem like TSE are letting that phase them at all. They're still gaining their numbers, and they will still get a fourth round.
TSE they work so well together as a unit. It's really a marvel to watch that they're never too far away from each other. They're always able to have these trade games available. And it's just a fact of how snappy their aim is. Waddles the Pig 8-1. Like, they haven't had to drop that Operator at all yet. It's really good to see.
I think as well TSE are being very brave with willingly inserting Waddles to take up some really deep space. It gives a lot of info for TSE and makes them feel a lot more confident in sticking those multiple member anchors onto A. And that's partly why they managed to get that retake so cleanly against REY. Not only were they able to snuff out that tour de force, deny it the space threat that it would have been great for REY to abuse, it still pays off. And at this point, Waddles is playing with his food. He's TP'd through, making the noise notification, and conditioning REY to expect it just being a clone. And that is how Waddles can peek out for free with the door open without him needing to risk peeking out and getting a pick. It's so confident from Waddles, and this is why the guy is so high on this KD right now, 9-1 on these first 5 rounds. And he's dismantling REY, and REY have been forced to take this slow to beg someone to give way and get a pick. But TSE are not giving that space at all. They're really being patient with it and only using their space and numbers for this info.
They just don't have any gaps in this armor at current here, as they have this engagement between Winch over on the B sort of long angle here between 2 players. But again, there's 2 players of TSE ready to pick up the pieces. Bully finding Winch, and now I think REY are just going to try and shove and commit here. Jacob finds at least 1 kill onto that B site here.
At least Deck falls. It's a big asset taken away off that Viper, but Willie G remains anchored on A and definitely can hear out Jacob's movements here. And so with that information being called, I think that's going to prompt a quick rotation from TSE. You already see the Waylay coming fast back round, and Jacob takes a step too far into Willie G's crosshairs. That's going to backfire pretty rough now. Only 10 seconds left to go. Pants will be forced to stick this down. Thankfully covered by Zowie, but quickly taking care of Luca as the light speed will reveal all here alongside the C's. Pants is in a lot of trouble. And so that's another round locked in. REY really can't get themselves off the ground. They're not really able to fully take that space and lock it in. Because like TSE always have a strong level of control, and that's courtesy, really, to their double controller composition and their discipline on the rest of the members.
Move in after.
Yeah, I'm just loving what TSE are bringing. All their movements seem so deliberate, and a tactical timeout coming in from REY here, I think arguably worthwhile here to find what's going wrong, because they need to try and force their way into this defense of TSE, and TSE aren't leaving any gaps here, so it's down to REY to create them using the toolkit that they've got available here. The Sky, the Yoru, the Waylay, whether that's be they need to try and force these displacements, or indeed try and take a leap out of Waddle's book and do a bit of trickery of their own to kind of open up these initial engagements and get that first blood on the board.
And I think with REY right now, that they're always finding some way to get one piece of their puzzle working out, but the rest can't fully overwhelm TSE. And that is courtesy of good use of their utility and also just really great stationing of Waddles. So far, that Operator has been an absolute menace, and it has been unique to TSE. Waddles is definitely a bit of an outlier in the way TSE are playing right now. The guy is just going all guns blazing, and TSE are enabling him in that way with the rest of the utility that they're throwing out, and I think that's just perfect for Waddles to just fully strike and make things even more frustrating for REY. I can imagine having fallen for that conditioning of the clone through the TP, then seeing Waddles just come out, get your pick, and giggle like a Disney villain, man. It's quite devastating for REY, I can imagine, and this timeout has to be of a reset and find ways to adapt to this Operator.
Yeah, you've got to find the ways here, but it's just how TSE measure and make sure. But it looks like REY maybe wanting to go quick and fast here with the limited weaponry they've got available. Pants over with that shotgun, opening up onto Sir Capalot here, and found great success with it. Now they've just got to convert this into a successful spike plant and keep control of this A side.
There is a metric ton of utility being thrown out, and that Nightfall from Willie G has been excellently timed for TSE. That Molly being thrown out, not considered by Bully at all. He's running through mercilessly! A solo agent talking his smack. He will just run through like he's his own main character and will grab 3 with now carrying the world. And it's just up to Winch, who may be magical, but you need a lot more to come through, and I don't think he's prepared for Luca on this spray through lamps, and so that's another round for TSE. Bully is probably one of the sharpest shooters in this event. The guy is an aim demon. You can put this guy on a lot of aimers compilations because he's so solid, and I think that was just one thing that comes with that extra confidence that he has and confidence in his team to back him up.
I really liked that sort of burst of energy we saw from REY, but I understand obviously all the utility was coming down, and maybe the recommit through that teleporter over towards the B site was the sounder call in the moment. But you've got to find a way around the utility here, or if you're going to go into B, maybe you opt to go fake and try and fake out these issues here. But Pants leading the way over on towards this A site again. Looks like they want to give it another go.
A lot of smoke's invested into this. I think REY need to commit, and TSE know it. Fully backed away. Considering that REY have used 2 of their smokes quickly, I think they have no choice but to commit to this, and they're taking it slow with the smokes they have, but time's ticking down. The smokes are soon going to start dissipating, and the convergent path's thrown out here from TSE. They're going quick into this. Jacob with a shorty looking to put on his best Pants cosplay. Bully will get a second from Bully, but the opposite side still responding well from Pants, but it's still overwhelming for TSE. Aside from 1 or 2 members of REY, it's just TSE who are simply dominating this map so far.
They really are, and REY can't find a way in. They had nothing that they've tried has worked. They've tried a bit more of a cautious, slow measured approach, hasn't worked. They've tried to just slam their fist into A, and again, they've just been met by the precision of TSE here, who have not been really put under much pressure they've not really had loads of agents go down here. Yes, they've lost a round, but you know, TSE are firmly in control of this.
I think TSE have started to come to a bit of a realization that REY don't necessarily do crafty rotations. Whenever they do rotate to switch anywhere, this guy, I don't believe Panther's gone away with this for the 20th time. This is insane. If there's one thing that stays consistently successful for REY, it's Panther doing this shenanigans with the shotguns. But it seems like Willie G will still find the timing to shut down multiple members here of REY. And one by one they continue to fall. It's the same pattern over and over again. It's Pants getting his one, it's maybe Winch or Pants getting another, and TSE just mopping the floor with the rest.
Should they not be trying to go towards B? Like, this is the third time on the trot now they've tried to kind of go balls to the walls onto this A site. And I think if you're REY, you've got to really try and maybe mix it up and keep TSE guessing, because this is the thing. They've established that this is kind of the pattern that they're doing. And TSE are more than prepared for it. Yes, they still let Pants come along, bunny hop, and shoot one of them in the face with a shotgun. But barring that, that's about the only success they seem to have, and I think it's a really good opening move from the side of REY Esports, that they're able to just go make sure they know where that defender on A site is. I just wish that maybe they just kind of committed faster and go, right, we need to go and get this spike down ASAP. And they just don't seem to get in with as much emphasis as Pants does on the entry.
I think part of the issue with REY is that they're not claiming enough space and they're not being as confident against TSE. In a way, it seems like they're a little fearful of willingly taking a little bit more. This Skydog has checked one, and the orbital strike being thrown out two to snuff out any pushes from showers to reclaim any more space coming out. And look at the position here of Bully out too. Dagger's in a lot of trouble. He's going to fall to the orbital strike despite trying to sneak around the corner. Kakuzera will get his one on the board. And finally, it seems like REY will get their space claimed here.
Good use of the utility there to ensure that this round gets across the board for them and probably convert into a second REY Esports win here, unless Waddles the Pig pulls off something magical.
There's no way this happens. Waddles might be able to get one or two, but I don't think this clutch is happening. Surely not. You've got the off angle from Zowie sniffed out, and now you've got Kakuzera applying a lot of pressure. Guys, can we chill, please? As somebody who doesn't want to see a throw. There's not a lot of time left, and I think for REY, it's not the ideal end scenario here. You don't have the best economy. I know you want to shut down this operator, but if you're going to be doing that, you should play proactively. I don't think you should be holding these angles into Waddles where it's just easier for him to peek out, especially when he's playing so well. It's better to be oppressive with utility and play plays together. The guy only has one shot in the chamber. At the very least, go for a hot double swing. The guy's 13-3.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Like, if you were committed to getting this operating round in hand, then you need to show that, okay, right, we need to hunt this guy down. If not, don't give him anything. Because otherwise, you know, he got two off the trot there. There was a world that, if he was feeling himself, purely feeling himself, and he had some utility in pocket, he could have easily tried to find his way onto A. But time was off against him. I think, yeah, you said the point perfectly. Just, you're going to try and hunt him down, go and actually get him. Don't just feed him these 1v1s.
On to this next round here for REY. Economically still not too out of the bin. Wench being able to grab himself an operator. I think this is just meant to be a bit of space-taking pressure, maybe an info source to help them catch off who's around. But it's once again REY really taking this slow. There's a dog on the opposite side of the map here on B to try and sniff out Bully and the Waylay here in Luca, and it's just not being able to find anybody. That deep smoke's still a shroud of mystery here for REY, and it seems like they're going to start getting scrunched up. It doesn't seem like they're confident in willingly taking a lot of space aside from the space that they already have, and they're not ready for Waddles on this operator, but he will shoot through this clone. Pants again looking to do what he usually does best, but this time he'll finally fall. Good counterplay coming in from TSE, and there's only so much you can do. Winch tries to get one, and it's up to Kakuzera and Zowie to make some magic happen, but Willigi has an Odin in hand, and he's going to spray them down. It's TSE again with 9. This is absolute domination from TSE.
Yeah,
Last
Ray using
round
the
in the
utility
half.
on the B side of the map, I think, was maybe just to dissuade any kind of early aggression, being like, we are here, we are definitely looking, don't come this way. But you called it out. It's all just scrunched up here onto this A side, into one avenue of attack onto that A site. They have other options. They could easily go around and make it a two-pronged assault here, and at least split the guns of TSE up. Yes, they're still probably going to more than likely hit their shots, but at least divides their attention. And again, Pants going in for the traditional, I'm going to jump in and try and get a kill there. We saw that Waddles had a shotgun of his own ready to go. Like, they are more than adapted to it.
This is a good use of this Viper's Pit coming from TSE. The moment Deck hears a little bit of presence up from B, he's going to pop in and apply so much oppressive space, but he's overwhelmed! He's by his own teammate's molly, no less! That is a big, big error from Bully. And now that Viper's Pit is gone and the space from B is claimed here from REY. The question is now, I assume the goal is to have Winch up his station to try and grab something while this Euro and Jacob snatch that information. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Luca knows he's under pressure. He has to move out, but he can't do it. And so this scrunch collapsing play from REY pays off here. Winch alone now on Hookah. He's going to be able to have his team back him up. This Nightfall thrown out is going to be a big information gatherer. He knows that there's not going to be anyone stationed up long. The whole of REY have been revealed. The question is, can TSE make this work? This operate from Waddle so threatening, but he will fall from Pants. Now 1v3. They're using the convergent paths to guarantee it, and there's only so much you can do when your Odin shoots 2 pellets a second. It's Kakuzera to finish the job. It's 9-3 in this half.
A fair play from REY Esports, like you said, and it just brings me the question though. They had so much attention focused on A during their attacking half. I do have to wonder, would they have got more rounds on the board if they had actually split up their attacks onto focusing on the B side? Yes, we saw the one where they tried to go onto A and then use that teleport to cross over B. That was a bit too late, too far gone. They'd already committed a lot of their utility onto it. They tried out on the B side, and I felt it just worked a little bit better for them. Maybe it's because it caught TSE off guard. Maybe it's because of all the utility as well that they use, and also the friendly fire instinct didn't help.
We have to just say it as it is. Bully killing his own teammate who had the Viper's Pit up was kind of a disaster for that round for TSE, but I'm sure they're not too upset about that. I know they want to make this out as clean as possible, but one little error can't hurt. We haven't heard those things said before only to backfire, right? I mean, so far, TSE aren't letting that narrative stay. It's going to be Winch to go down first despite that off-ankle position, and Zowie left alone round Showers. I mean, surely at some point this is going to get cleared out. You can already see Deck creeping up, expecting something here. I think they already have a general read of Zowie's position. He's going to be spotted. Zowie's in trouble. There's nothing he can do. Panta Kakuzera may respond back on the opposite side, and they will get 3, and it's narrowed down to a 2-on-2. Panta on the opposite side looking to clear, but they're so separated. Willie G and TSE together can just capitalize on these isolations, and now Pants is in a lot of trouble. Takes a 1v1 donated by Deck. But is there a lot of time left? Willie G has this frenzy. They know where the spike is planted. He's going to be able to strike with this frenzy. And this position revealed. Willie G knows that he's now off the spike, and he's going to have so much time to just abuse this information, and it's served on a silver platter for Willie G. The man behind the palace. TSE will get to double digits.
First one to hit double digits, and I think just how much space they took as well from TSE. They found this gap, and they just completely dominated that space and cut off elements of REY Esports there. Like you said, it was great for the Brimstone there and their partner to, you know, still hang around and get those 3 kills that were almost brought them back into it. But they were so separated from the rest of their supporting cast that you can't just give that away for free on a nothing. I get it was the pistol round, but it's not good form to stick with.
And there's still a bit of a split default here from TSE on the attack. Something that they're very used to doing, actually. They do like going for these widely split defaults because they know they can rely on getting those picks and that presence. And already, Deck's gotten his 1 onto Winch, but he's moved up very far. He's in a lot of trouble now. He's soon going to pick down a 1v2, and Jacob will take him down. On the opposite side of the map, Bully with his Guardian, desperate to get one and does a lot of damage, but no kills being done. But who cares when you bait them right into Waddles' crosshairs? It's a free line of collateral, and that may just be the last nail in the coffin for REY on this eco. You're desperate on the force to get something done out of this, but it just backfires when it seems like there's a little bit of promise. It's up to Jacob now with this Bulldog, and I think Waddles is all too confident at this point to miss shots. That's 11. This is an absolute stomp here from TSE.
This is a stomp, and you said it during your call that they're just baiting people into Waddles' line of sight. And that's been the massive factor here, is that Waddles has been on top form here and been able to find all these kills here as another timeout comes in from REY Esports. I wonder if this is just to kind of maintain the mental and maybe even just kind of go, guys, we're just going to go next. Because it feels like this map is maybe a bit out of hand now.
Who knows? I mean, I'm not sure what REY exactly will be thinking, but definitely not feeling the best considering this is their own map pick. I mean, what are you going to do on Haven coming up next? God knows.
It's certainly a question mark.
TSE are kind of one of if not the best teams in the tournament on Haven. I'd be very scared if you go 11-3 down on your own pick, only to know you're going against TSE on their best map, if like one of their best maps, if not their best map. This is very daunting right now for REY, and I think the goal right now is to be collected and keep that positive mental and keep that mechanical aspect sharp on this team. Because I think just right now they're getting completely oppressed, and although they're making valiant attempts by claiming space and doing what they are different in doing compared to the rest of the teams in this tournament, once they get one advantage, they don't know how to double down on those things. And TSE are just so confident on their reads, they're able to know that REY, once they're on the site, they're never going to move. They're going to commit. And I think that's just too easy for TSE to call.
Again, they read this pants aggression here and dink them up a lot before they're able to capitalize on anything here. And again, it just seems to stump this very aggressive take from REY.
It's desperation. I mean, Bully is just mowing them down. I don't know what else to say aside from just an absolute slaughter.
Do you reckon they forgot they were on defense?
Who knows? Who knows, man?
But it's just Winch left on their own in a corner, praying they don't get found.
They're running around farming orbs.
Well, I suppose at that point they may as well, as the spike goes down. A little bit of extra cash in TSE. This is match point, essentially. We're going to be going into after this spike counts down.
I think they are slightly paranoid here that Winch may have faked it with the chamber rendezvous, because that is definitely possible. Now they've got to confirm fully that he is on that door. But I mean, what really more can you do?
I imagine that REY are also kind of using this time to talk amongst each other and establish a game plan going forward, especially for the next map here, as the penultimate round concludes and we head into match point. I think very much this is a closed book affair.
At this point, aside from REY getting destroyed at the moment, the only thing I'm quite sad about is Bully not getting that ace. What the heck, TSE? What are you doing? Why are you not giving the guy the ace? Like, come on. Let's be real here.
I like that.
No, I don't. I disagree with you.
Yeah?
Why would we not want to give Bully the ace?
Because sometimes you see teams, not in affairs like this, but in closer affairs, where they go fishing for the ace and it gives away these kills to the losing team, and sometimes it leads to round losses.
It could.
Luca gets that opener window.
Oh dear.
Waddles gets the second. Jacob able to shut him down before he can cause any more damage, but a 4v3 situation. We've seen this
Sticking around. I don't agree with Jacob sticking around there. It may be a 3-4, you may be a guy down, but you got to go, lad. You can't stick around there. Winch only has an operator. That was a big enough error from Jacob, and I think at this point REY just strategically are checked out.
Yeah, I think they have, and I think this is very much a go next kind of affair here. As Winch is going to see whether or not they can grab anyone. Luca elsewhere gets a kill. Winch is good for 2.
Oh, and Winch?
Teleport's ready.
I don't think Winch of all players here, being one of the biggest stars of the show, want to go out in a whimper, but unfortunately with only 2, that's not big enough to make it out. It's going to be 13-3 for TSE. Contrary to the last series we had, this has been absolute destruction.
This has been destruction and speedy. whereas the previous series maybe a bit more measured and controlled and long.
TSE doing our admins a big favour with this one.
100%.
Doing our schedule a big favour, considering how long that first series was. But hey, with that being said, complete destruction, man. I don't know what else to really add to it. REY really tried. It was clear they had an idea of what they wanted to do. They had a vision. Pants was doing good at the job he was trying to do. Winch had a good moments of individualism, but when they got onto the site, when they were against the rest of the members, they didn't know how to counter it. They just had no way. They didn't want to take further space, and they never did. And that backfired every time. They couldn't play collectively. Unlike TSE, that's what made them lose the map.
Yeah,
in
100%,
crazy fashion.
100%. It's like you said, they were good on those like initial picks, especially with Pants on the waylay, getting it up in their faces and often finding the first pick. But the rest of the team just falling by the wayside in terms of making sure to grab the space that's available to them. You echoed that perfectly here.
Yeah, and for REY, you have to think now, what's next for Haven? What are we going to be doing when we get into Haven? Because TSE are quite renowned on this map. We mentioned it earlier on. They are just very expert on Haven. And granted, a lot of teams will be. It's probably one of the most popular maps, period, of all time. So a lot of teams are well established. But when you are getting dominated in your own map pick, when you have that unique composition that you like to play around and have your own identity on, having that creative skill set snuffed out like that, out like a light, you have to think, how are you going to be dealing with it? Especially with TSE doing so good individually too. They're so willingly taking these 1v1s. And with those micro mistakes coming out from REY, multiple occasions when those mistakes were coming through, fundamentally you can't help but feel like TSE might just be able to dominate this next map too. That's the fear factor we have. And if you want a good game, I'd be really worried right now.
Yeah, I have to agree, because like when the map veto came in as well, we both said it was like those are the three sort of fundamental maps of teamwork and standard Valorant maps here. And I think if you were going to trip a team up like TSE, you might try and prep an off-pick map, a Breeze, an Abyss, or something like that.
Corrode, man.
Yeah,
I want to see Corrode so bad.
Something like that, just to be like, okay, right, we know that they can dominate us on most standard maps here, but we will have to wait and see here as we head in towards a break here, and we'll be back after a short break with map 2.
That we can let this forever and feel this forever and never and still that won't leave me enough for time to tell you all the ways I feel. Why would I throw that away for thrills? Trying to play the field. Glad I've been keeping it playing so long. Out here in this world I feel it ain't a place that I could roam. But ain't nothing like you when I'm at home. It ain't nothing like you when I'm at home.
When you feel like it's over and nothing else matters, I know you feel so divided. Pick yourself up again and you better start walk, girl. Open up your sleepy here, talk, girl. You have come too far to give it up now, even though it seems there's no way out. Take a look in the mirror now, what do you see? You can be anything you want to be, you know. You will never be alone. Girl, go make your move. There's nothing left to prove. I know that you will find your love again. Don't be ashamed to cry. Hold your head up high. I know that love will save the day.
Welcome back to EPIC47 with our series of TSE versus REY esports. We have Haven ready to go, more or less. We will be going there in a few seconds. And what was a very dominant display by TSE here is something that we talked during the break about what we probably are going to expect to see this map as well.
Well, you have to have high hopes that we carry on with a good game. I always would like to be casting some good Valorant where the games are close, but I can tell you now, our schedule people are big fans of this stop, considering how far the last series went. But you know, for me, and I'm sure for you in a way, we'd like to see something happen to make it good. But unfortunately for REY, they just crumbled on map 1. On their opening pick on Bind, where they had a specialized style on this map, they had something worked together, cooked up, and TSE just dismantled it just like that. Even if they couldn't deal with one tiny aspect of what's otherwise a bigger plan, they were able to dismantle completely the rest of it, and they couldn't stop winning as a collective. Yeah. There was barely a close round, like compared to last series where there was constant 1v1s rounded down to the very end, where there's always been trades back and forth, always something crazy going on. This series has been REY get their one, They try and flood the same site without anything mega creative, and TSE just mop the floor with them. That's how it's been the entire time on Bind. They haven't played any lurky, crafty defaults, and whenever they try to rotate, they do it way too late to the degree where either TSE already know, or TSE have too many numbers to even worry about dealing with the retake.
Yeah, it feels like they had lost a lot of initiative that they seek to gain in terms of REY Esports. They highlighted the Waylay player that would go in, get those kills early, and really open up the site. And you're like, okay, cool, there's a lot of momentum here. And just the rest of REY stumbling around, losing that momentum, lacking the initiative to really just take that space. Whereas when we saw TSE on the attacking side, we saw that they took this just swaths of space away from REY Esports here. And ultimately, it really got away from REY, I think, in quite quick fashion. Now, going to Haven, I wonder if we're going to see more of the same here.
Haven is a map that's very experienced. A lot of players already know how to play Haven for the most part. You know, creatives on this map are very rare. Like, a lot of unique things are quite uncommon unless a whole new meta for an agent has been released. For this one, more often than not, you're going to be seeing the solo Omen. More often than not, you're guaranteed to be seeing the Sova. My question with this is going to be the duelist role and whether or not either of these teams will run double controller instead of the Sentinel. Viper has surprisingly had a lot of value on this map. People have started to discover that Viper's wall is really good at a particular part of the map on A garden, going through into sewers to add so much indescribable pressure of whether or not someone's going to be lurking or anchoring around that sewers area. That Viper's been very popular, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if TSE chose to do that themselves. But TSE as well, they're fans of running double duelists. They could easily run something like the Waylay Yoru, or even the Jet Yoru, or something along those lines. They're very capable of doing something like that. And for me, is the Chamber going to be thrown out again from REY? Winch, again, despite his team not having a good series on Bind, he himself was honestly not doing too badly.
He wasn't doing too badly, and I think that's the important thing that, again, if you take the Chamber, you need to make sure that you consistently hit shots. You don't have to top frag, you just need to be consistent, because there's nothing worse than just kind of, to say wasted agent is maybe too harsh.
Yeah.
But I think that that idea is there, and like, you know, you picked a Chamber and you've gone 4 and 12 or something like that, and it's like,
yeah. I think that would definitely define what was actually going on if that was the case. But for REY, in terms of synergistics, that was really the big problem. They weren't really able to gauge the site's overall period. TSE just had straight up just stronger fundamentals going into it. They were able to play together, and they made reads that made REY just look so predictable and so easy to counter. So for TSE, it's the same protocol with what they usually run. From what I know, they like running pretty traditional standard compositions. I'm wondering if they're going to be running the Yoru instead of a different initiator like the Breach or the Sky. They're definitely going to be running the Sova and the Omen. I think those two agents are guaranteed. I know that, for example, Bully is a big fan of running the Killjoy, but considering they have the Veto coming out and Bully has been quite formidable on this Veto, Haven is definitely a map where Veto is an option, and I'm really curious on whether or not that's going to be thrown out here from TSE. Maybe even run a little bit of experimental stuff now if they feel confident enough to go into something different to put other teams off later on. I think TSE have a lot of room with this, because I feel like fundamentally they are just straight up the superior team as a group, right? REY individually need to act up more, and they also just really need to lock in when it comes to being more creative on their macro game and their mid-rounding, because they have a good opening idea. Like Pants, I feel like 9 times out of 10, Pants' entry with a shotgun was the thing that got them that round, right? And that was on the Waylay. Are we going to be seeing the Waylay Chamber again? We'll have to wait and see as we get into Agent Selector on Haven. And question will be how things change, if things will stay the same. For TSE, they are going with the bog standard composition, Jet Yoru with the traditional Sova, Killjoy, and Omen. I think every single player on all of these roles are very, very known. I think the only slight off role here would probably be Willie G, who, from what I know, usually plays that entry Spark Duelist, but Luca and Waddles are very, very strong players themselves on this role, so I think Willie G is very okay with allowing them to do that and have him play on this Sova. He himself has had some really good moments on the Sova in previous matches, both in this tournament and in previous Epic Lands, whereas for REY, they're trying to run something different here. I don't know if that will be a solo Brimstone, but if that's a solo Brimstone, that's a very difficult composition to adapt through with REY, and I think they're going to have to compensate for that by running the double duelist in the Neon and the Waylay.
It feels like maybe REY are just going to really... It almost implies that they're going to be quite aggressive as well, because they've all stuck the Chamber. So they've got double duelist plus the Chamber, and then the Sova, and now hovering that Omen.
It's once again effectively the same comp.
Essentially, yeah. It's more or less a mirror one. The only difference being obviously the Jet, the Neon, kind of switching up there, and then you have the Yoru, Waylay. There's, I suppose, similar vibes, but different execution.
Yeah, I think it's again a similar deal where they want to run the triple doorless and just try and be those big thorns in the side here for TSE. But you're going to have to really pray that this can work, because I think with TSE fundamentally their retake ability is particularly noteworthy. They are really, really strong on those retakes. And I think most notably the B site is one of their best playgrounds. Every time I've seen TSE play on Haven, it's B that always seems unbeatable for this team. Whenever someone goes in, their retake's unstoppable. When they go B, their anchoring is phenomenal and they can counteract on the post plan. Haven B is so clean here from this team. And we're going to have to hope that for REY, they find ways to adapt through this. Because although this composition is definitely not the traditional, it's something that TSE are all too familiar with, both with this team overall and in general, because so many teams like running something like this. And Chamber might be fantastic for those operator along sightlines, and Neon might be brilliant for these long rotations on the defense, but this time they're starting out on the attack. And TSE need to make this work, and I think they are very confident going into this next match.
REY, like you said, just need to make sure that they are being adaptable wherever possible and don't hesitate. If they need to make a change, they make that change early on as they start to go onto the city site, and Luca is waiting there for Pants and removes them from play and goes for a second onto the winch.
Luca quick on 2, and that scan is not cleared! That's a fundamental error coming from REY, but it doesn't mean much here because Kakuzera is out getting his 2. His 3rd coming in here, although so much damage has been tagged, and TSE definitely coming out with an advantage. That Sheriff will act as a one-shot to both of these guys. And so with the plant coming in, they have a little bit of a presence here of that flank coming in, but Wheeler G on the opposite side will finish the 2, and it's a clean pistol from TSE, and granted, Kakuzera really tried with those heroics, but when you saw Panther that entry, you saw the Waylay dash come out as a bit of a distraction, and although it's solid fundamentally, you need more when you're against a team like TSE. You need more utility thrown out. Maybe you need the paranoia thrown out. You need a flash that doesn't exist on this team aside from the paranoia. So if you don't have that, what can you do aside from just pray to something high up in the sky that Pants can do things that have been shut down several times against this team?
Yeah, it's like you said, there's just no support here for Pants to kind of do what they've been doing here of that rush in and try and grab that kill. So if anything, you need the Pants and the play on Waylay to kind of both do the same tech movement and basically be like double up and be like, right, you have to kill both of us at the same time. Let's work together.
Alright, here with a good position. But out comes that light speed from Jacob again, forced to retreat, unable to get his 1. TSE are really grouped up together, but they're holding strong with their angles. Lucario and Deck will get many. An attempt from Jacob and Pants to get numbers, but it's so excellently traded from TSE. It's effectively perfection here.
What I liked from the Jet there is the fact that obviously they were unsuccessful in netting any form of kill here, but they don't overstay their welcome. They sit there and go, right, okay, I haven't been able to do what I need to do, but I'm going to save my life and move backwards, and not just stick around hoping to fish out a kill here, because that then gives more time for REY to double swing or something like that. Really heads up play there from Luca to just be like, right, okay, no, it's not worth the risk. I'm going to pull back and regroup with my team, and then I'll get the first pick anyway later on when REY inevitably comes to the site.
This time with the Byron coming in, very important that REY gets this down, but Pants already has just a Bucky in hand, and they're trying to take over his control, but it's responded by a shotgun of themselves. Deck here will take down the spearhead of the push from REY, the source of the innovation coming in, and Jacob's trying to find some sort of response to back it up, but Dex put so much pressure already with 2 members down. What can you do when one was just farming kills with this Outlaw? Suddenly it's so quickly rounded down once again to a 2-on-5 here. Willie G alone facing Winch. There was one player you don't want to be isolated into 1v1, so it would be Winch on this chamber, but he's so low, and this chaos in terms of spray pants for the Spectre will just be too easy, and Willie G is dancing on the graves of REY here. With Zowie left alone, what can you do here aside from just try and do some damage?
Dark comes in and Willie G cleans it up there, and again we're seeing something similar happen to what happened in the previous map here. It's just TSE dominating the side of REY Esports.
Fiore What do you do here? What can you do? I think one thing we should maybe try and note as well, which we haven't actually talked about unless mentioned previously, that this isn't the known previous org known as REY Esports. This is actually like a fake team name. These aren't REY, like they're just called REY Esports for the bit. Just to like make that clear, I just wanted to separate that quickly because I forgot that wasn't mentioned. So people watching this game, this isn't the REY Esports. They're not back. This is just a team that wanted to call themselves REY for the meme. Just wanted to make that clear. Although they are themselves a good team. Anyway, back to the game quickly. I just wanted to make that tangent quickly to make things clear to viewers. TSE already, they're getting a quick pick on this eco. And I think Waddles with this Outlaw is just going to be so obscenely oppressive. Pressure is on, and Bully is just willingly taking these fights without a smidgen of fear in the wild. And you've got Waddles also taking care of these left sides in case someone goes for a split push. And although Bully falls, he's very happy to let Luca just mop the floor, farm up that Blade Storm as TSE get 4. It's the same pattern again that we're going to be seeing. This time, even more dominant fashion. Last time, REY won the buy round, so now they haven't. This is looking more and more dire for this team.
We just don't seem to be having this aggressive stance from REY to try and prise open a hole in the armor of TSE here. You've got these two duelists here with a lot of hypermobility here, and I think you need to be working in concert with the Omen to enable them to go forth and find that first pick, because that's ultimately going to be what helps separate you from TSE, and which manages to put a foot forward for REY Esports here with her first pick onto the Yoru of TSE.
Seems like it's going to be a hair attempts coming from REY, and this Blade Storm out from Luca can be swiftly forced away. Forced back into C-Link, and it's almost been an attempt at a fake here from REY, as Jacob's cleared up a lot of space. He's beaten and bruised, but he's able to make a lot of information now from REY. And I think Will almost has a bit of an estimate with this, but Deck has been completely unnoticed, and although Jacob's been unspotted, maybe a bit of a light threat now that they have that Odin at their arsenal. REY are tagged a lot here, and so Bully can just tag up easily without even having to worry about being precise. Will also get one, as Bully gets another. REY just collapsing again when they have that space. They fall to those one-on-one fights, and it's now just up to Winch as Bully holds down that defuse without any worries. Third kill for Bully. Lockdown now confirmed for TSE. It's just getting worse and worse here for REY.
I think it's the fact that when they've gone and grabbed that space as well, then they start to fragment as a team, and there's no secure flank watch. There's no one covering angles properly. You should all be on that site, and then you slowly move out if you want to take more aggressive positions to kind of fish out these defenders of TSE here. REY just seems scattered all over the place. You have the chamber kind of like wayward offwards somewhere, not near the rest of the team of REY Esports here. We go into this sixth round here, and an Odin starts spraying through the door here. I think TSE is starting to feel themselves.
This is an aggressive C-spec coming in as a convergent pass thrown out from Jacob. Lucario on this operator will grab as well before he falls, but this Odin from Deck is just malicious here. He will fall, but Kakuzera is soon going to be falling victim to more if he can make something work, and he will! He gets 2, but he's shut down by Bully. I think this is in the closest round we've seen in all aspects. It's just been chaotic and only really close for REY, courtesy of Kakuzera.
I think, yeah, but I think that opening initial part of the fact that both duelists obviously wanted to try and commit to this very aggressive zip. Pants was caught out, fair enough, by Luca, but Luca, again, could only look one way and then was silenced by the Waylay. And I think that kind of works, and like you said, it was the closest round. It just happened to be the gun skill of TSE won out here. There are elements there of REY Esports' plan shining through, and you just need that little bit of tweaking, that little bit of execution to really just push it forward, and they might see a round on the board.
Timeout coming in from REY. I think they're starting to really have this sink in at the behemoth that they're against here. You know, need they be reminded of TSE being reigning Epic champions and regular contenders at Northeast Tier 2 scenes and challengers EMEA. They may have not made it from what I know, but they've been close.
Yeah, this TSE team is some special stuff here, and it's it's wonderful to watch them play. In terms of it, obviously we wanted a closer affair and a bit like, you know, tooth and nails, but you've got to give credit where credit's due to TSE here. They are flying.
I think what's really difficult about the comp that REY are running is that they don't have any flashes like they would with the Yoru. They only have that Paranoia of Kakuzera, but that's a one-time use with, in a way, a little bit too structured for it to be exactly the kind of coverage that you want when you're running into those hard entries. And although there's some util being traded out here, Bully may fall, but Waddles is willingly going into these close-angle fights, and he will get taken down by Zoe's Hunter's Fury. Kakuzera as well will get one. This operation from Lucario is under a lot of pressure, and he's scanned by the Recon Bolt. Again, survives. Out comes from the shadows. That's going to rotate fully round onto A. And look at this position being secured from Winch. There's a chance here. They can bring this back. But Will, as terrifying as ever, has this Odin. He's playing some final boss music on the speakers. As Kakuzera will thankfully snuff it down. And that's finally a round on the board for REY.
Really, really much needed round there. And to be fair, I can't lie, I was in distress on that opening pick of the Panzer's Neon just kind of doing some mobility tech and just kind of stopping in the middle of the door going, hello, before being shut down. And it's just like, I feel like there are times to use these mobility movements here, and that's not the place to be using it. And like you had said, the lack of flashes to kind of clear these positions, these close-knit angles that you're never going to be sure someone's lurking. You need those flashes to go forward and enable the space to be taken here.
I think what's different is that you need flashes to add more coverage and range to it. Paranoia is the best flash in the game, but it doesn't have universal space taking. It's only one specific line that blinds it. Granted, it's undodgeable, and if you're in it, you're blind for good, and that's it. There are other reasons why you want a different flash, like a Yoru flash, for this to work here. Thankfully, though, it's still ready to make this garage control pay off well. Although Pants is low a lot, Jacob's really taking matters in his own hands and grabbing one and snuffing out this Odin play from deck. This time they're oh, what a shot from Bully! This guy is lethal! Quickly snuffing out this advantage. Pants still really low, but soon Deck's going to be able to push out and shut down this, frankly, maybe brazen overdrive coming out from Pants. However, it's round down to a 1v1. It's been rounded down as Winch will face Luca. It's a fresher face, maybe a little familiar, against one of the most decorated, if not the most decorated player in Epic Land here.
Teleport's ready.
Can't help but be a little bit worried for Winch in this when it comes to holding his nerve and being sure of where it's going to go. Luca is just really disciplined here and almost playing with Winch's paranoia. Has not a single shred of clue where Luca could be. I mean, look at this. He's checking everything here.
10 seconds left.
He's going to have to make a commitment now as the spike goes down in the middle of B, and here comes Luke.
Spike planted.
Being careful not to try and give away their position, make any noise here.
Winch has the tour de force.
He does have to tour de force, but he's got to get Snap and have an idea of where he is.
Oh! Luca.
And Luca is too tight. Tour de force or not, they are just so clean with their aim, and bring that back for the break from TSE there.
The kid's lightning fast, man. Really sharp and confident. I think he knows he doesn't have to worry about a thing. The moment he sees that model, he's on it.
Okay, we know the drill.
12 and 4. 12 and 4 from Bully. 9 and 4 from Lucario. I mean, I don't know what else to add with this.
It's the fact that the whole of TSE is currently positive or equal in their KD, and even Waddles, who had a standout game previous map, with the, you know, we saw them on that operator absolute tearing apart REY. It's only 4 and 4. But that's the thing, it's still equal and not letting the side down, because other members of TSE have just kind of stepped up.
Could Waddles care less? I mean, his team's 7-1 right now, you know? And if things do start acting up, you know Waddles will act up too. I think the guy is a very tenacious player. He's been around a long time. And now we're waiting on this next push from REY. Very fragmented, very scattered. Pants will be checked with a drone, but the timing a little bit off from Waddles, but Pants can't land the shots. He fumbles in the panic as Waddles will spray him down. And so another spearhead of this big push from REY is out of the picture. It's a 5v4 with REY choosing to go in. Look at Winch's space claim. It's just red like an encyclopedia here from deck. And this Odin pressure now not only instilled into REY to refuse going back to B, but now Bully's got a lot of pressure, a ton of info, luck shut down. TSE just know that A is all that REY are focusing on here. They try to be crafty, but they just get figured out so quick, and all they can hope is to just try and peek out in game 1, and that's what they will. Jacob gets 1, now looking to catch out Bully, and this time, contrary to the last flank, it's out. Convergent pass thrown. Still, Kakuzero not caught. The TP from Deck is outrageous here. Kakuzero alone. And 1 on 2. Somehow not snuffed out, but quickly taken care of by Waddles. You had a little bit of hope there. Once Deck was from hyper rare to clueless on that back site. Waddles will take care quickly of him, getting that 3k in. Making that KD go from a 4-4 to 7-4. And now he's joining a similar KD rate to the rest of his team.
I felt that the positioning there from REY wasn't the worst either. I think there were elements where you're like, oh, okay, right, they've got some better established positions there. No one felt out of position. It was just TSE winning those gunfights a lot of the time. And I have to... It feels bad for Pants here being at 1 and 9. I love the fact that they kind of mirrored just in time to obviously go through the smoke as that drone was exiting. That was really clever. It was just unfortunately just couldn't connect that initial shot because again that shuts down.
Oh no! Okay, nice shots from Jacob coming in. Is this the hope injected here for REY? They need this to happen. And with TSE early on in the round being so low on numbers, this retake might not be as feasible as we know them to be so strong on. That drone does take Lucario. How do you willingly do something like that, man? It's now up to Deck and Luca together in unison, who will wipe the opposite side, as it's up to Winch and Luca again on the Sheriff. And again, just like last time, Luca will take swift care of them.
Just Luca is too sharp. Too sharp for this. Goes and makes sure to collect the operator going into the next round. 9-1.
Deck on this Odin has been oppressive. The TSE are bullying this team. And I find it funny that we're seeing this level of dominance because I had the opportunity to speak to Luca, also known as Lucario, in the lobby right now from TSE before their series began while I was watching a different match. And I was talking about how REY were on this crazy story. Like, I asked him, like, are these guys really a threat to everything? And Luca, with a smile on his face, ever so confident, nah, they got lucky. They got lucky in their run. And, I mean, to say something like that to a team made to win us finals shows some nasty confidence. And I think from TSE, I think they're the only team who would have the right to be that cocky and actually back it up. You can't diss them for it. That being said, though, again, REY trying to find what works, and they've made what work attack on this B. They need to close this down. And look at this. It's the same people again. Just robbing REY of any hope to get onto this blimming site, man.
You're trying to outspray an Odin through the wall. It's not ideal. Pants and Bully get kills apiece.
They now know that Kakuzero's back site. And Bully's unchecked. Uncheckable here. You need to have Winch isolate and go for these ones, and Luca's just so quick. He's picked up the Phantom. He has to reload. Might give himself away. But okay, Dak. Surely this is the round, right? Both members so low, so little time left. Winch is doing a great job at stalling this, but he's gonna have to win soon. He's gonna have to peek into it. Bully, is this the chance? Is this the round? No, it's not. It's not timed. The defuse is in, and just like every time there's a 1v1, REY are repeatedly heartbroken. They are being humiliated by the reigning champions. The fresher faces, the like Cinderella story of this team. They're being getting hit with a big reality check by the reigning champions here.
That's 4 defuses on the trot, and I think the last 2 rounds have been good because they have just kind of smash and grab this B site, and it's worked for them. They've got down to 2 1v1s. It's just they haven't been able to outperform on an individual basis the players at TSE, and that's what's been letting them down, is perhaps individual performance.
Gonna fall back here.
Again, a B hit. They're trying to find some hope here for REY. They're desperate into this, but they are going for a bit of a fake this time. Almost in a way trying to condition this, but it seems like REY really are still trying. They really are trying to make something work here. Even then, this slow push from Jacob Will be quickly stuffed down by Waddles, but Waddles in a lot of trouble courtesy of that Saturate. And now, Bulldog in his hands, choosing to switch it back into the Guardian. Convergent pass at his arsenal as well. I think TSE, they're going to be so aggro here, almost arrogant here from Deck on this Odin. He'll do some damage, but not enough to shut anybody down. Lockdown invested here from Twist Saints. Convergent pass thrown. Willie G in a position where he can't compromise until the spam in! But Bully is all too perfect with his aim! And it's again heartbreak for REY. I don't know what REY can do anymore.
What happened?
You can hear TSE laughing. You can hear them laughing from our headsets. TSE are dominating this team so hard that they might give REY an option to go to a villain arc for next Epic.
It's so...
Switching sides.
TSE, they are just hitting. They're just hitting everything they need to hit.
I mean, Bully, my goodness gracious, that 3k on the Guardian.
I don't... They're just finding these gaps here.
Oh my god, look at this retake rate. Look at this. 5 diffuses in a row.
I thought REY had done it. I thought REY had got another round. I was like, oh, safe. We're here. No. Lucas said no. And, oh, goodness.
Lucas said no, and Bully was like, what the hell are you doing on my side? Get off. Get off. Screw it. Buzz off. Get away, man.
3 kills just from nowhere as well. From the sound of it, it's just, oh, dear.
TSE are making REY look like a joke. And I really cannot believe that this is a winners finals matchup. I don't know how TSE can look if this is what REY have been able to match up with. Finally, this pistol round, there's a little bit of hope, but it's once again a 1v1! And again, it's Willie G. It's TSE. It's always bloody TSE.
It's just on an individual basis. They're so turned on. They're just so turned on here. Oh dear. And I think the other thing with TSE as well is that you can hear them having a laugh and having a giggle, but they're not letting that get into their gameplay. They're
merciless.
They're not trolling, and that's what I remember you said. Like, why don't you let Bully get his ace? It's like because that doesn't matter to them as a team. They just want the win. They can have the laugh together at the end of it, and that's what I admire so much about this TSE squad.
I mean, with REY now, so little hope left. You need something to happen, and it doesn't mean much at all. TSE are wiping dust off their hands. They see REY as simply a little bit of gum on the ground.
This has been domination.
This is probably the most one-sided upper bracket final in Epic history. REY were not even able to get 6 rounds in this series. Not less than that. 4 rounds.
4 to 26.
13-3, 13-1. It's the TSE show, baby.
It's the TSE land.
It is. It's always been TSE. Like, Epic Land has been this group's playground. You know, it is TSE as the organization, but this is a bigger thing, right? This is the Willie G clique, the Palace, right? And these are the strongest players in that area, with a lot of other strong members on different rosters, where we'd hope that someone here can do better against TSE on this one, because I can't believe what I just watched. I just casted a massacre.
You did just live on Twitch. You casted a massacre, but
let's hope we don't get TOS for how much of a destructive tear that was.
But I mean, fair play to REY for showing up, and obviously, you know, kudos for them to obviously getting to the upper final. But
still got lower bracket.
Still got lower bracket, so they can run it back potentially. But TSE are just they're that good.
We just went from one of the best series in Epic Land to one of the most one-sided series in Epic Land. I have no clue what to say now. At least our schedule people are happy that we don't have to have any more delays and we can go back on track. Thank you, TSE. We love you being too good at this tournament.
The check will be in the post.
Okay, just chill. Let's not be biased, all right? Let's not make any rigging conspiracies here. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been your series. In a way, I'm sorry it was this one-sided. I wish it was closer. REY were in the upper bracket final for right now. Unless is it upper bracket final or semi-finals? Let's take a look at the bracket and see our updates here on the matches before we go into a break, because we've got a lot of time going into this here with the upper bracket and the upper bracket final here. REY and TSE, they're together. It is going to be REY in the lower bracket grand finals, where TSE await up there here. It does say 1-0 there, but it will be 2-0 coming in. And with the next series, Control Coalesce, which is a fantastic looking series with Lost Puppies and Songers together. This match here could be really, really good.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how the rest of the lower bracket develops. Obviously, we know TSE in the grand finals here. It's going to be a proper slugfest to see who makes out of lower unscathed. And that's what I'm looking forward to, like you highlighted. Control currently a map up against Coalesce here. Lost Puppies and Snoggers. Again, I think that's
two really good teams.
Really, really good scrappy fight there that could happen. And then obviously the winner will have to play REY eventually in the lower bracket final when we come to that.
And with that being said, I think that's going to be it from us for now. We'll be getting your updates on the bracket. If you want to go to the EPIC47 website and check the bracket there, you will be able to see it. A little update there as well. Snoggers 1-0 up against Lost Puppies. It's fully updated here. Both teams one map on against each other. That's how quick the stop was. It was so dominant that they've only won one map. And I'm pretty sure the next one's only just started. So with that being said, we'll be going into a break, and it will be a little while until we go into our next cast, courtesy of TSE, but we'll be guaranteed we'll be ready for the next one. Take a little bit of a breather, and we'll see you guys next time for the lower bracket finals.